Byderhand at Hand is an ongoing interdisciplinary research project on locative literature by the Department of Creative Writing at the Northwest University, South Africa. When the team was approached by a school for the visually impaired about the possibility of a Byderhand installation as part of a planned multisensory garden on their school grounds, we were intrigued by the idea and the new challenges it posed. A multisensory environment is a dedicated space created for educational purposes and explicitly makes provision for students with special education needs to provide a stimulating environment in a safe area. Our acceptance of the invitation led to a multi-layered collaboration investigating the possibilities of locative literature for persons with visual impairment. Our presentation will focus on the participatory dynamics in the development of the multisensory garden, the locative literature and the interface, and how the installation can contribute to an enriched learning environment and a deepened experience of place and literature. We start with a video showing some users' experience of the installation and the garden.
In 2017, the Pioneer School for the Visually Impaired in Worcester started a multisensory garden project on their school grounds. The Byderhand team of the subject group Creative Writing at the Northwest University was approached to join this collaboration project. The Byderhand Pioneer project is an interactive literature project that uses QR codes to make site-specific text available in the garden. The Byderhand information board may be found at the entrance to the garden. This board tells users how to scan the QR codes. The instructions read as follows. Open the QR code scan app on your phone. Put your phone's camera on the QR code. Slowly pull your phone away until the QR code is scanned. The QR code has a braille frame around it so that blind learners can easily feel the QR code. After the QR code is scanned, the link takes the user to the appropriate interface. The interface design is visually simple so that users with low vision can work with it. The interface is furthermore programmed for basic screen reader software so that it can also be accessible to blind users.
Voiceover on The House Where I Live, William Rowland.
When the user accesses the literature, the text's contrast and size can be adjusted. For the soundtrack, there is also a simple control bar, namely to play, replay, and stop the sound. Each text has a recorded soundtrack which is read by the author or by a voice artist.
I must remember, every day is a round blue pebble, fondled like a jewel in a little boy's pocket.
There are 10 garden verses in the garden. Each text is site-specific and somehow related to the garden. The garden verses were written by well-known poets. The verses are complemented with music arrangements, typographic animations, as well as translations in Setswana, isiXhosa, English, German, and Portuguese. A further extension for accessibility and multilingualism is the addition of sign language. Learners can experience firsthand what the plants feel, smell, and taste like. Another feature of the garden is the walking surfaces that are made of a variety of textures that bring out different sensory experiences. The textures were chosen to go with some of the children's verses.
Die sag trappad, die dennepad, die grasmatras hou my voete vas.
The project is furthermore used for teaching purposes to expose learners to new experiences and possibilities of literature. The learners also get the opportunity to sharpen their technological skills. Apart from the literature and the interesting plants in the garden, there is also a music installation that is very popular among the learners. Another extension of the Byderhand Pioneer project is the Pioneer Stories. These stories were written or told by learners and former learners and are about their adventures and experiences at the school, the town and environment, among others.
15 steps I remember. making my way up during each break with a book under my arm.
27 stories were posted on the school grounds at sites that are relevant to the stories. These stories are also available to the public in Blindiana Barista, a coffee shop at Innovation for the Blind. Here, visitors can relax, enjoy a cup of coffee, and read or listen to a story. Blindiana is also the home of Joseph Matetau, South Africa's first blind barista. Joseph's story forms part of the Pioneer Story collection as well.
Making coffee is like creating a beautiful piece of music.
The instructions of the project are available in Braille and large print, and it works the same as those on the school grounds and the multisensory garden. With this project, everyone can experience place and literature in a new way.
The project was grounded in a participatory worldview and research paradigm, which guided the execution of the project practice and related research. The principle of nothing about us, without us, which denotes that persons with disabilities must be integrally involved when projects or initiatives affect them directly, was accepted as the basis for the project. The planning and execution of the project involved a variety of collaborators and displayed a distinctive participatory dynamic. The school was in charge of the development of the multisensory garden, which involved the expertise, skills and input of various role players. Although we were not actively involved in the establishment of the garden, the content of the selected poems influenced the design in diverse ways. The Byderhand team was responsible for the production of the multimodal literature. The production, which can be understood as a form of contributory participation, entailed several aspects and phases. The school was involved throughout, for example, in the invitation of the visually impaired writers and the initial selection and editing of the texts. Participants with visual impairment were not only involved as writers, but also helped with the production, for example, with recording, sound editing, and interface design. The collaboration also reflected on the formal research aspects, such as participation in research discussions and input into research articles.
In line with the participatory nature of the project, a co-design and user-centered approach was applied to design a multimodal and multi-level interface through which the literature is disseminated. Visually impaired persons were integral to the development and the research of accessible design. Collaboration in the form of co-design was greatly led by explorative discussions and experimentation. These discussions shed light on how visually impaired users interact with their surroundings and, most importantly, technology. After collaborators identified usability issues regarding user interface design and accessibility, possible solutions were explored and tested. Thereafter, working prototypes based on the input and feedback of collaborators were designed and prepared for testing. Within a user-centered approach, designs underwent a cyclic process of prototyping, testing, and evaluating. During these phases, visually impaired participants shared their experiences and thoughts on the usability of the designs. The gathered experiential information from participants informed the improving and refining process, which led to better design solutions. Ultimately, the main goal of the interface design was to make the project accessible for users with different visual abilities. As the project developed, it became clear that there would not be a one-size-fits-all solution to satisfy all users' needs. Therefore, the final designs would involve a combination of Braille, enlarged text, QR codes, and an accessible user interface that enables users with different levels of vision to navigate through the content of the project. As seen in the project video, this multi-layered interface enables users with different visual abilities to experience and equally enjoy the literature published on the Byderhand platform.
We did, however, realize that since the project is based in Worcester, it meant that very few of the writers could actually have access to the project. As an expansion of the project and its accessibility, we undertook the production of a Braille publication that makes it possible for visually impaired users to experience the project from the comfort of their homes. The publication houses the entire project's collection of garden verses as well as the pioneer stories. The publication consists mainly of Braille and QR codes. This publication meant a great deal to the writers, whom we personally visited to hand them their own copies. The feedback gathered from this endeavour exceeded our expectations, as many of them noted that it enabled them to not only share their experiences with friends and family, but also to revisit memories of the school and the town. Overall, the writers were very proud to be part of the project and having been able to share their story and experiences.
Considering the relatively small scale of the project contributed to mental well-being, equity and social change on various levels. The multisensory garden and locative literature installation contributed to an enriched educational environment, especially with regard to the principles of the expanded core curriculum, such as assistive technology, sensory efficiency, and recreational and leisure skills. The themes and content of the poems and stories may focus the reader's attention to features in the environment, suggest physical activities, stimulate the reader's imagination and creativity, and expand borders. The project contributed to giving voice to visually impaired writers and narrators. What stands out especially in the narratives is the construction of narrative identity, the key role which the community played in the narrators' lives, and the collective and relational process of place attachment. These poems and stories also provide ample opportunities for identification and empathy. The experience of the locative literature at a specific place can, for vision impaired and sighted persons alike, contribute to the awareness of the embodiment and perception of the writers and narrators, and can lead to a greater awareness and intensification of their own sensory experience and bodily emplacement. Participation in the project made us aware of the needs of people with vision impairment and the need for greater inclusivity and accessibility, and of the contribution that the creative disciplines and the field of e-literature can make in this regard, but always with the basic principle in mind: nothing about us without us. Thank you.